Hello everybody and welcome back once again. This is day 4 of old Caterpillar D2 number 5J2115 SP's diesel engine disassembly process. I've got it flipped over upside down where I can continue taking pieces off, and I'm already finding more battle scars. But you remember in the last video I took this little crankcase side piece off and noticed that there was some weld in there that had been broken. Well, guess what? We also have some weld that comes from that compartment opening up onto the bottom of the oil pan, and judging by the battle scars that are on this oil plug and all of these leading edge contours, I'd say a lot of things scraped down and bounced off of that pan in its day. Obviously did not have any crankcase protection. Also noticed some rather profound wear in the spring saddle area. That is to be expected on D2s, especially high hour ones such as this. I'd be curious to see what it looks like on the inside, expecting to see some fatigued cast iron and some cracking in there. But first I'm going to get this radiator support off the front, and I'll take a couple minutes here to address a comment that I got a lot on the last video. I lost track of how many times I answered this because it was just asked over and over and over again, and finally I just resorted to just cutting and pasting the same old response and changing the name because I got tired of typing it out. And that question was, why don't you use impact wrenches? Well, a couple reasons. I typed it out a few times already, so I'll just explain it right here to hopefully not have to answer the question again, although thanks for asking. I don't use impacts out here because I do have air tools, but I don't have the wiring in this building to sustain a nice sized permanent air compressor, so I have to fall back on the portable one. The portable one does not have much for tank capacity. There is literally no reserve in the thing, and it'll last for about 20 hammer blows on the impact before it gets so weak that it just can't do anything. So at that time, I'm disconnecting the air hose, wheeling it back up to the new shop that has wiring enough to sustain running an air compressor, pumping it back up and coming back out here for another 5 seconds worth of trigger time. So that's the main reason why I don't have an impact out here. Secondary reason is you guys want longer videos. The only way I can make longer videos is to talk more and also use hand tools. If I just bam, 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 bolts out and we're done, we wouldn't have very long videos at all. And besides, we can relax a little bit. We can slow down, enjoy what we're doing here. Just take a step back, stop, smell the roses. We don't have to be in the 24/7 rat race rush. We need to get it done more, now, faster, faster, faster. We can put manual hand tools on things yet, and guys, it works just fine. It takes a little bit longer, but you know, it's part of the experience, so calm down. So now that we've got that out of the way, radiator support comes off. Working over here in the bell housing now. Forgive me for the poor light, but I've been folding back the lock tabs on the heads of these bolts. About 9 of them in here, if I remember right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, holding the bell housing to the main engine block. Earlier engines like this one had just bolts. Later engines had studs that came out with nuts in here, but they all utilize the same types of fold over locks. I want to show you this one real quick. This one has this little pointer that comes off of it. Kind of registers with this opening right here. There's a cover on the other side there that you would take off, and to set the injection pump lifter timing, you would look through that opening and align marks on the flywheel with the straight edge of that pointer. I've often wondered how accurate that is, considering that this whole lock assembly does distort and move somewhat when you tighten the fasteners down on top of it, maybe skewing the position of that little tab, but it obviously worked. With those 9 bolts off inside the bell housing, you just have these final 4 out here, and I'm pretty sure I pointed that out when I was taking number 1113 apart, but I figure I'll just mention it one last time. Ready to take the bell housing off now. I'll just keep this one here started by a couple of turns just in case it wants to totally fall off. Okay, looks like it'll come off. Yep. Now we can take the pan off, and Again, I do like to use a hoist for this, not only to tension it, but just to kind of lift it. It is kind of a heavy piece. And there's a few things that have to be navigated around inside here. I covered it pretty well in the old 1113 disassembly video, so this may be kind of like a rerun. Breaking the gasket loose all around. A dowel pin here and a dowel pin there that need to be watched out for. Just need to get it worked off of everything. Sticking on this one a bit now. There we go. Okay, pan's off and we can finally see down into the belly of the beast. Just having a quick look around. Crankcase really doesn't look that dirty. I was right when I pointed out in the last video that fold-over lock was not done properly, but it's tight, it's all still there. These ones are not done anywhere close to correctly at all. They might as well not even be under there. Suction screens are not bad. I mean, I've changed oil in this thing enough, considering that it had so much blow-by. It was such an oil burner that for every 2 parts of fuel I burned, I pretty much consumed 1 part oil. So, you know, there's that. Looking down in here, I don't know if you can see on camera, but boy, on this side, a lot of O-rings from that sleeve are deteriorated and pushing out. And looks like we got some wear patterns on the cam lobes, but that's to be expected with all the hours that this thing has. And we got, right down there is a little green blob of antifreeze hanging on the bottom of that sleeve. Of course, I can also see a lot of O-ring material pushing out around it too, so that's a little bit concerning, seeing some coolant starting to leak a little bit. Hopefully it's just those seals at the bottom of that sleeve. I want to have a look at the pan here too. Get some of this sludge off back here above that spring saddle area. And yep, we've got a crack right across there starting. Pretty common on these. Like I say, these high hour D2s, and I heard maybe some of the D4s too would wear in this area where this pan was always setting down on that mainspring, always working. So if you got a pretty profound oil leak coming down on your mainspring underneath your oil pan, it's a good bet that that's starting to crack out there, kind of like this. But I always like to investigate the sludgy stuff. Right underneath the suction bell here is where that stuff always accumulates. I like to have a look and see kind of what's in it. Definitely a job for gloves. Yeah, I'm seeing a few little metallic flakes in there. Who knows what all has been peeling out of this engine. Here's where the front suction bell would be. Stuff definitely wasn't going anywhere. That's just grime as far as I can tell, but right here, see if I can pick it up. No, hard to see it. There is some silver in there though. Some metal, which really doesn't surprise me that much. Well, next time I want to get the front cover off, but I need to dig some of these bolts out. This thing sure is a greasy bugger, I'll tell you. See if I can break the gasket seal here. Oh yeah. Luckily these gaskets are pretty dried out and they don't have a whole lot of stick left in them, so you can usually get the joints apart pretty easily. go. Get the key out of there. Okay, folks, unedited, uncut. Can't get the front cover off because the key is still on the crankshaft where the front pulley would go. It doesn't all happen right on the first try here. Reality TV, my friends. That works a lot better. Just want to have a quick look. Underneath that cover here, some of the timing gears, some pretty detectable backlash going on, but I also see some wear patterns on the gear teeth. Again, not too surprised considering the hours on this unit. I want to talk about these fold-over locks here just a little bit more. I mentioned that the ones on this suction bell were not done properly at all. They're very sloppy, very crude looking. The Caterpillar service manual actually has pretty good diagrams of what proper fold-over lock methods would be versus improper. And that guide usually gives you a pretty good reference to look at one of these engines and be able to tell if a qualified serviceman has been in this far or not. You can see, obviously, these suction bell locks are not good at all. This one just has the corner folded up. It's barely in line with a flat, and this edge is not folded down where it would disallow counterclockwise rotation. You could probably get a quarter turn counterclockwise on that even before this came up against that bridge on the suction bell. By then it's too late. That's no good. But it looks like on the intermediate cover here, some pretty qualified servicemen had been in this far last time, because these are all pretty much perfect. You have very good engagement with the flat on the bolt head there, very good engagement with the bottom of the cover that will not allow any counterclockwise rotation at all. That is what you would like to see. So just by remembering what proper fold-over lock methods look like versus improper, you can get a pretty good idea of who's been into your engine beforehand. Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm out of time. I'm going to have to wrap this video up right here. It's getting late and I'm about to shut the lights off out here. But we made some pretty good progress here again, and I'm just going to keep right on going on this, try and get that thing completely disassembled, get a little better idea of what I got there. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope to see you back next time.